Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ardem Dev Diary. It's been a while since last one of these, but we're really excited to finally bring this format back and share with you what we've been working on. Over the past few weeks, the team has been super busy, working on a ton of new features for Ardem, from world design and AI improvements all the way to big technical updates behind the scenes. In this episode, we'll take a look at some of the most exciting things we've been working on recently. Let's start with something pretty big, our new electricity grid system. In the past, whenever you found a house in the world, and maybe there was a small shed or a garage door or even a little barn next to it, you had to connect separate generators to each of those individual structures if you wanted to have power inside of it. That was kind of a tedious process, and it didn't really make sense in terms of realism either. So we built a new system that lets us define power networks directly in the editor. What does that mean? That means we can decide which buildings are connected and share the same electricity grid. In practice, that means if you hook up a generator to the main house, all the connected sheds, barns, and garages will automatically get power too. Lights will turn on, outlets will work, and the whole area just feels much more alive. It's a small change on paper, but it makes a huge difference when you explore or start setting up your base in the world. Speaking of electricity, we've also spent quite a bit of time setting it up all across new structures in the game. The system itself has been a part of Ardem for a while, but with all the new houses and smaller buildings we've added it to the game at this point, we had to rebuild and reconnect everything from scratch. Over the last weeks, we've been going through every single structure, placing outlet points, lamp attachments, and just simply making sure that the entire electricity setup is consistent everywhere. Now, even small sheds, garages, and garden huts have working lamps and outlets inside of them, so you can technically power whatever you want and make proper use of those spaces. Basically, every building across the world is now equipped with lighting, ready to be powered up and used however you like. A perfect example of that system in action is our brand new lighthouse area. The location comes with a small keeper's house right next to it. It has a nice terrain and sits beautifully against the side of a rocky hill. The lighthouse and the keeper's house share the same power network, so if players manage to restore electricity to the house, the lighthouse will come back to life as well. Once powered, you can turn the rotational light and see it sweeping across the coastline and see surrounding landscapes, especially at night. But then of course, that light can be both blessing and a curse. It might help guide other survivors, but it also means everyone across the map can spot you instantly. The area itself is basically done. We're just adding a few finishing touches to it, making sure Keeper's house look more weathered down and abandoned to really sell that atmosphere. Next up, let's talk about the Fort Simon, our military camp. Inside the camp walls, the entire layout is now pretty much done. We've finished the last polishing poses, added small environmental details, and refined the overall look and feel for the interior space. Right now we're focusing on the area outside of the camp. That includes defensive outposts and a new bunker entrance that we're actually extremely excited to show you soon. The surroundings of Fort Simon were heavily cleared by the military, so the landscape feels exposed. There's very little natural cover, lots of dead trees, and pretty eerie atmosphere to say the very least. Once the outer area is complete and the path leading back to the main road is set up, we'll start working on the interior of the bunker itself. There are some really cool things to discover down there, and we can't wait to share more details about it in one of the next dev diaries. We've also been working on two systems that players won't directly interact with, but that helps us a lot during development, especially when it comes to tuning how infected spawn across the world. We've built a new heat map based on the spawning system. The entire map is divided into a grid of small tiles, and we created an external tool that lets us paint those tiles with different spawn weights. There are 7 different intensity levels, and just with a few clicks, we can define areas where infected spawn frequently and other areas where they barely appear at all. This gives us a very fine control over pacing the atmosphere, like making dense urban areas feel dangerous and wild, while remote and hidden zones might be quieter and more unpredictable. We also implemented a way to visualize these spawns directly inside the editor. With one click, we can see exactly where infected would appear if the game was running. Red squares pop up all over the map, showing potential spawn positions based on the current heat map settings. It's not just faster, it's also much more visible and easier to debug. Instead of guessing where things might go wrong in the game, we can literally see it happening right in front of us, and we can adjust it right there on the spot. That makes the whole system far more transparent and precise to work with. And here's the cool part. Once Ardem releases, we're planning to share this with server owners as well, specifically the heat tool itself. So if you're running your own server, you'll be able to create your own heat maps, customize spawn zones, and decide exactly how dangerous the world should feel. So yes, your zombie apocalypse, your rules. We've also made a lot of progress to AI lately, specifically when it comes to infected behavior. After getting the base systems up and running, we started defining different types of infected, each with their own movement and aggression patterns. Some of them are slower than others, and they're mostly dangerous in larger groups or when you get cornered. But then there are the ones that enter what we call a hyper chase mode. Those are much faster and more aggressive, and they can really put you in those tense situations. None of them are faster than your full sprint, so technically you can always outrun them, but your stamina isn't unlimited. So if you've been running for a while, carrying heavy gear or doing other actions that drain your endurance, you might not be able to keep up with the pace for very long, and that's when things can get very dangerous. Luckily, these hyper chase infected are much rarer than the slow ones, so you won't have to encounter them everywhere, but when you do, you'll definitely feel the difference. We've also been working on performance and graphical improvements, just simply making sure that Ardem looks great on as many systems as possible. One of the big steps forward is the implementation of DLSS and frame generation. We've already tested both, and of course for those of you with NVIDIA 40 and 50 series, you'll be able to take advantage of frame generation to multiply your frame rate and just get much smoother experience overall. The next step for us would be adding FSR support, so players with AMD cards can benefit from similar upscaling and performance boosts as well. In general, we're still putting a lot of effort into optimization ever since we switched to the new graphical setup. There are still a few performance challenges we're tackling as we speak, but we are certainly making steady progress and already seeing improvements. One of the main focuses of our upcoming closed alpha tests will actually be performance testing, making sure that as many players as possible can run the game smoothly, and of course, first and foremost, making sure everyone enjoys the gameplay as well. We've also started working on the complete UI and UX overhaul. That means everything related to the user interface and overall experience that existed in the previous version of Ardem, the one that some of our early testers have already played, is being completely replaced and redesigned. The goal here is to bring everything up to the new visual standard of the game. So just making sure that the interface itself matches the updated graphics style and overall presentation of the game. Right now we're still in the mock-up phase, if you want to call it that, focusing mainly on the main menu and the sub-menus. We're experimenting with layouts, readability, and the overall flow to make sure it feels clean and modern before moving deeper into the in-game UI elements. And once that's solid, we'll start working on in-game interfaces as well as bringing the entire experience in line with the new visual direction. And of course, what you've seen today is just a small part of what we've been working on over the past weeks. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes, from bug fixes and technical improvements to tons of smaller details that keep the world of Ardem evolving. In these dev diaries, we're focusing on the highlights and the things that are most exciting or visible to you as a player, but rest assured, there's a lot more going on than what can fit in a single video. I will see you all in Ardem.